So Charlie, I'd love to talk a little bit about what happened today. I know it was in the field of trauma release, what I experienced and what you facilitated. So I'd love for you to share a bit about what is trauma release, what is shaking, like what is it?
Cool. And I actually got, while you were going through that process today, I actually got a little bit of footage, live footage, that I will just put in this video, just a small bit, if that's okay. I know it was quite a, probably a vulnerable time that you were going through because you were releasing a lot. But just to touch on how trauma is stored in the body, so we can actually look out into nature and we see animals whenever they experience fight or flight or freeze, but mainly the freeze mode. When their body actually freezes, a lot of adrenaline is pumped into their body, and there's a few interesting, which I can link in the video below, but there's a few interesting videos on YouTube where actually animals are traumatized or have a lot of stress. There's a polar bear one, there's a deer one, and you'll actually see this ripple shaking effect run throughout, and it's their nervous system discharging all that intense energy and built up stress. And unfortunately, humans really don't have the freedom to do that. We create tension in our relationships or our friendships or our social situations at work. We're not going to lie down and just start shaking. But even if you look at ducks, and ducks, they might quarrel, they'll flap their wings so hard, and that's a way that they're discharging that stress, and then they fly off and they've just forgotten. They're on to the next thing. But humans, we don't forget. Some people hold on for years, some people probably hold on for lifetimes, and it's that pain of being hurt and not going to allow that person ever to do that to me again, and that is stuck in the body.
Wow.
So this process that you went through today, and then we'll talk a little bit more about, is a process of actually releasing that stuck trauma and stress that are deep within the fascia, deep within the tissues, the nervous system, the cellular memory. It's a profound emotional and energetic release and detox to bring more freedom into the body.
Wow, it's incredible that animals do it, and us as humans, we don't really get any chance to do that. I guess dancing would be the closest thing.
It's interesting you actually bring that up, because I think that's why a lot of people on a Friday night, Saturday night, they've built up all that stress and trauma throughout the week at work. People saying, I wanted this, I want this from you, meet this deadline. Most people are not in a job that they like anyway, so that creates a lot of stress and friction and resistance. And then they get to that Friday night, Saturday night, and that's where they can dance and move and release. And they probably release 5 or 10%, but it can build up. You know, it's definitely not the best way, being intoxicated with alcohol, to fully release holistically all the stress and trauma in their cells, but it would be potentially doing something for that. So
So today for me, when we did that process, it was pretty intense. At times I didn't even feel like connected to my body in any sort. I just felt like I was somewhere else. And that intensity and that shaking, you as a facilitator, you were holding the space and you've done this many times, like what did you see happening? Like, I'm curious. I know it was intense and I was feeling a lot of emotion, but what was happening really?
you say that you weren't connected to your body, so I'm not sure. Most people say that themselves are the mind, so maybe you were saying that your mind wasn't connected to the body, I'm not sure, but it's actually one of the first and only times where the mind and the body in a way separate and the body has full power. So in that situation that you're talking about earlier today, your body had full power to move the way it wanted, and it wanted to release because it was in a safe environment, and it kept going deeper and deeper and was probably in touch deeply with the subconscious mind, but the conscious mind was just out of releasing stress and trauma, and it was involuntary. There was shakes, there was convulsions, and this is what the body needed to ripple out the energy and break up that energy that are stuck in the cellular memory. So most people, when they dance, for example, they'll dance and their mind will be controlling where they move their body. So you'll be dancing and you'll be like, oh, I want to look good, I'm going to move here, and the mind's in control. When the real healing and release takes place is when you allow the body to take full control, and that is just a powerful, explosive energy, because the body's full of energy and the mind's not controlling about what it should do and shouldn't do. So that's probably what you experienced.
Yeah, I think when you made that distinction, that made more sense. My mind didn't really have so much control as to what my body was doing. My sense of awareness and my mental capability was a lot different than it maybe potentially would be. Normally, if I was undergoing that kind of pain or trauma, I'd be thinking something about it. But this time, I couldn't even think of where it was coming from.
The body was just doing its thing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what did it actually feel like when your body, you were probably in that state for 15, 20 minutes quite deeply. What did it physically feel like?
I was feeling quite a lot of tension in my throat, and I'm still feeling it. It's quite raw, especially on the sides of my throat, like it's constricted or pressed. I was feeling a lot of pain there. And there was quite a bit of emotion, but I was really trying to focus on the sensations. And this was the biggest place, but there was also like a weight on my solar plexus. I felt as if if I had been laying in the water, like floating on top of the water, it was like a big rock just came and fell on my solar plexus and was pushing me in.
So was this happening before this process, or did this process give you those feelings, and now does it still feel bad or negative? Or did you notice that there was some tension beforehand and then there was a release during and then it was different after? Actually the process, what was?
So there was a bit of tension before. I think that's what led me into wanting to journey through the trauma releasing. I was feeling a bit of tension in my throat and a heaviness on my chest and my belly. And then once we started doing the process, it amplified in a sense, but I did feel releases during it. I felt body convulsions or sighs or moans or big yawns that it became less, it lessened it. And after though, I noticed I had a burst of energy, and I'm still slightly feeling it in my throat, but I'm more connected to it. I'm more connected to my body now. Before I was this hurts, why is this hurting? I want to fix it. And now I'm kind of oh, this is trauma that I carry. How can I be more kind to it? How can I let this move on its own?
Yeah, from my perspective, before you went into the process, there was lots of confusion. There was lots of weakness, and I'm sure you could relate to that. You were quite what to do from here. And then when you actually went into that process and we went through it, you came out and you were a lot brighter. Your eyes were much more awake. So through my viewing and my point of view, it looked like there was a huge weight that released emotionally, physically, energetically, mentally, from whatever that was. Most of the time it's from childhood. So most of the time there were situations in your childhood or in my childhood or anyone's childhood that cause trauma and cause energy to get stuck. Energy and emotion is just energy and motion. So there's normally energies running through, but then something happens and it just gets stuck. So you can say there's a lot of stuck energy there. And I think it will continually integrate. And we could do multiple sessions to go deeper and deeper and deeper. But yeah, it was intense at times. But I'm really proud of you for going through that journey, because you can see where you were and then what happened after. It was very different.
Yeah. I have a question. What if people don't know what their trauma is? Do you have to know what the trauma is in order to release it? Do you think everyone's trauma potentially have those sort of experiences, or do you think some people don't have trauma?
I think the cells carry memory from hundreds of thousands of years. So cellular memory is stored, and unfortunately humanity has gone through a lot of trauma. Whether it's wars, family feuds, or whatever it is. There's been a lot of trauma. So we carry these deep memories deep down within our subconscious mind and in our body. And I'm not saying we need to go to those places. We just start with you and your life. So I think people have a lot less trauma, and I think people have a lot more trauma. And your other question was, do you need to know what it is? No, the body knows. That's the thing. You're saying, do you need to know? Once again, you're probably identifying with your mind. So your thought, does it need to know? Does it need to just remember? And no, it's actually interesting, because a lot of traumatic experiences are actually cut off from the memory to protect ourselves. So a lot of people that have actually gone through a lot of traumatic experiences can even hardly remember those experiences. And they believe that that is potentially a sign of healing. I can't even remember. It's just amazing. The body remembers all, and the subconscious mind remembers all. So it's good to start off with small releases, but then we can journey deeper and deeper. And in my experience, when I release more and more from my past, everything shifts. My life becomes more magical. My body physically relaxes. Less knots. I used to have the worst neck pain. It used to come out all the time. My neck would actually be on a big angle, and it would be constantly pulling. And that was emotional stress. And that was trauma. And I had to go through many levels to release that. And I don't experience that anymore. And I used to have severe back pain as well, where I couldn't even touch my toes. And I couldn't even sit down with my legs straight in front of me. I couldn't sit on the ground with my legs straight. I had to actually lean back, because that was too much tension in my lower back. And that was emotional. That's fear around the kidneys. So I had to release that. Multiple, if there was a video following me around for these certain things that I've done, I've screamed, I've yelled, I've cried, I've smashed the ground, I've just, there's probably more to come. So I hope you're excited for more to come. But yeah, releasing this stuff I feel it's my responsibility. Especially if I'm thinking of having children, because whatever memory my cells had is directly passed on to the next generation and the next generation. So it's my responsibility to cut the chain, to break the chain, to clean my traumas, my karma, cleanse my body, my mind. So then when I do choose to do that and have a child, if I do, then they're given the best opportunity, the cleanest slate to work with, and I really do believe that's the greatest gift. give to your child is cleaning up your own stuff first, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
Anyway, is there anything else you'd like to share about your experience, or is that
Um,
about it?
that's it.
Proud of you. It's a good experience. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Kelly for being a wonderful experimenter of the
Trauma
release of
relief.
trauma.